Welcome, everybody. And of course, to start it off, I'm going to say Happy New Year to all my TCNTV viewers. Yeah, I'm excited today, so I'm talking so fast. I'm going to calm myself down. I want to just say thank you for everyone who's been watching and commenting. I appreciate it. I've been getting a lot of really great feedback. I've been getting people sending in news, things they wanted to talk about. And the great thing about that is now I can start basing a lot of the shows off the things that you send me. So I want to be thanking a few people today for a lot of their information they've sent in. Of course, those who want to remain anonymous, I do leave them anonymous, but everyone else, thank you for sending in the information. And this year, I promise to bring you information that is going to make you think. We're not the traditional news station. I'm not going to be here pushing out what everybody else pushes out. I'm going to be here giving you news and educational information that will make you think, make you look a little bit past what you usually do, because we're so tuned in. And we're going to be talking about this today. Media and social media has our minds all messed up. A lot of us don't even realize. And my attempt is to slowly but surely help everyone start to think more and react less. Okay? So again, if you like anything, any of the shows, not just my own, but the other shows we have on here, please subscribe to MyTCNTV on YouTube. We are on Periscope. We are on Facebook as well. So wherever you're viewing us, please go, just click like and share it to someone who you think this might interest, or even if it's something that you think would educate, please pass this on, okay? So today is an interesting day. Usually when I'm doing my research, I start with everything that's thrown at me, and I try to place together things that are going to be helpful for you. So today we're going to be looking at a couple things. We're going to look at, I'm going to do my best to get through everything today. Today we're going to be looking at how social media, as much as I am using it, we have to always remember that social media is a tool. And any tool can be used for the bad or the good. If you give someone a hammer, yes, they can use that hammer to nail something, but they can also use that hammer to harm someone. So remember that it's very useful, and we need to always learn how to find balance. The only way to find that balance is to be able to think and understand. So I have a lot of clips for you. I have a lot of definitions for you. So those who have the ability, I know not everyone's gone back to work yet. So if you have the ability, grab that notebook, grab that pencil, and I give you lots of references for you to go back and check. I am not here to force you to believe anything. I want you to check the resources and go a little bit further, okay? So let's start off. I have a clip, and I have about 4 clips from this same file. It's called Anonymous. This will change everything you know, 2018 to 2019, and this you can find on YouTube. So clip 1, please.
We may change the way we think about the decision, or try to change how others think about it so that they can support our decision. Or we may change some aspect of our behavior so that our decision seems more in character with us. In other words, we try to reduce the dissonance between how we think we should act and how we actually act by changing one or the other. In the mid-50s, Leon Festinger and his colleague Merrill Carlsmith conducted a classic experiment in which students were engaged in very boring tasks. The students were then given a request by one of Festinger's staff.
Okay, that's fine. Let me tell you now what we're actually studying here. It's the effect of preparatory mental set on performance. The rest of the subjects are prepared by being told that the experiment will be very interesting and enjoyable. In fact, lots of fun. Now I have a somewhat unusual request to make of you. The next subject is waiting right outside, but the fellow who ordinarily gives the spiel isn't here. I wonder if you could possibly take his place. As a matter of fact, we figure we'll be needing someone in the future, so I'd like to offer you a $20 retainer and have you remain on call for us. Would that be all right?
$20? That'd be fine.
Half the students were randomly assigned to the group that received $20 for lying that the experiment was fun. The other half were given only $1 for lying.
$1 as a sort of a retainer and have you remain on call with us. Would that be all right with you?
Yes, that'll be all right.
The cognitive dissonance.
So we are going to be, it's not actually the clip that I wanted to start with, but you know what, we can start here anyways, and I'm going to bring the clip I originally wanted to start up with you. But we are talking about cognitive dissonance today, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's, again, we have to understand that media is governed by six companies, six major companies. Okay, we talked about it in the last couple shows, and they have successfully used psychology to basically get their message out and to control the masses. We spoke about this in the first couple episodes when I spoke about Edward Bernays and propaganda and how social media is used. So cognitive dissonance, let's talk about this for a second. I actually have a definition to put up for you. So Leon Festinger, he's an American cognitive psychologist, best known for his theory of cognitive dissonance, which is to him, according to which inconsistency between thoughts or between thoughts and actions lead to discomfort, dissonance, which motivates changes in thoughts or your behavior. And I actually have that clip, that definition for you there on cognitive dissonance and what it is from the Britannia Encyclopedia. It says Leon Festinger on it, who is the person who came up with that definition there. So what he wanted to point out was that humans are very sensitive to inconsistencies between actions and beliefs, okay? So he recognized that because sometimes people will feel something about something, they may not always act on that feeling because some other information is given to them, okay? So there's another clip, again, that talks about this, same video. Video 2, this is when a test subject is paid $20 and he had no problem. And you'll see what I'm saying. We'll bring up the next clip. You'll see. Okay. All right. So video 2, this shows that in his experiment, Leon Festinger actually had two different people. He had this very boring task, as you saw in that first video. And in this boring task, he paid one person $20 if they would go and tell other subjects for the same test that the test was fun, when the person knew it was boring, okay? He paid another person only $1, and that person was supposed to go and do the same thing. Now, the cognitive dissonance came in when that person was supposed to tell the next person that they actually enjoyed the task when they didn't enjoy it, okay? So it's important to understand that they did it, but they did it kind of hesitantly. And okay, I think we have our video clip ready, so we're gonna put that up. This is video number 2 from the same clip, and it's called Cognitive Dissonance.
I didn't think so.
The $20 subjects, on the other hand, felt no dissonance because they felt comfortable in lying just for the money.
He said it was pretty miserable and that I should do everything I could to get out of it. Well, I think maybe your friend was wrong. Perhaps it's a different experiment because this was a lot of fun. It appeared to me as if it were a puzzle. We had to turn these knobs, and I tried to figure out what we were doing it for, but I really couldn't figure it out. Perhaps you'll have better luck.
Other theories might predict that the man who is paid most would have...
Okay, so in there, I couldn't see, you guys could hear it, but I actually couldn't hear it myself when I was watching that. But again, like I was saying, in the clip, Leon Festinger, he paid one person $20 and the other person $1, and he made them speak to other subjects about the test. Now, where the cognitive dissonance comes in, they didn't believe it, but the person who was paid more was actually able to transmit that information to the next person, the next subject, that it was okay, even though he and himself didn't really like it. He knew it was boring. So there's one more clip that we're going to play before we leave and come back. And then I'm going to play something a little bit modern. Everyone knows the Big Bang Theory. We'll play that clip when we come back. For now, let's put up that last clip from this video, Cognitive Dissonance.
He knows the task is dull, but he has two discrepant thoughts. He also knows that he did not have sufficient justification for saying
Sorry about that, everybody. Of course, things do happen, but we are going to get this information out to you regardless. When we do get back, I'm going to go more into cognitive dissonance, and then we're going to fade into how social media has honestly caused some major problems here in society. We'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN-TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN-TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
So everybody, thank you again. I appreciate everyone hanging in there with us. Again, with this show, it is new. There's a lot because we have a lot of information. We have a lot of videos we want to get up to you. I'm doing my absolute best to get them to you, and I'm going to. But when there's glitches, again, we will do our best. I will also, what I'm going to do is maybe tag some of these videos after so that you can click on them yourself and see them. That might be a little bit helpful for you. But again, if you have suggestions on how to get these videos yourself, comment. I'll listen and we'll get them to you, okay? So again, discussing cognitive dissonance, we're going to tie it all in with social media and how that works, and media and how that's been causing issues for us. But let's take, I want to take a look at a clip from The Big Bang Theory. I know most people are familiar with that, but basically remember, it's about the idea of having a thought and having some discomfort because some other information comes in, and then learning to balance that discomfort. And what most of us do is we react, and it'll come out in your actions or your behaviors. So I'm gonna let you watch this, and we'll talk about Sheldon and what he did in this clip. So I guess Penny had told him that she was going to get him a gift, and because he didn't know what she was going to get him, he bought like a ton of gifts, like a lot of gifts. So when she came with her one gift and gave it, it was okay. I think we're ready with the clip, so it's better for you guys to see it to understand how this actually works. Still having problems with the clip? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move on from cognitive dissonance, and you know what? We know what we'll do, Jamel? We're gonna go on into the very first clip I wanted to bring in when we're talking about social media. Maybe that one might be a little bit easier to bring up, yes? Yeah, the original one. Let's bring that one up because I can start tying everything together. Nope, still some problems. Still some issues with this. For whatever reason today, and I'm not going to let it defeat me, my technology is not working for me. But I think we have it now. Yes? Yes? Okay, we have the clip now.
You know, people are unpredictable, and so we want to psychologically figure out how to manipulate you as fast as possible and then give you back that dopamine hit. We did that brilliantly at Facebook. Instagram has done it. WhatsApp has done it. You know, Snapchat has done it. Twitter has done it. So there are great examples. WeChat is doing it. There are great examples of failing fast is the right path to exploiting psychology of mass populations of people. I feel tremendous guilt. I think we all knew in the back of our minds, even though we feigned this whole line of like, there probably aren't any really bad unintended consequences.
So I want you to understand this clip is actually from one of the founding members of Facebook. So again, people are slowly coming out talking about social media and basically how psychology and social media hand in hand. I know we had started again with Edward Bernays speaking about it, and I know that stuff may seem a little bit outdated and we're supposed to be in the now. So this is why it was very important for me to bring that clip up, because we are actually now in a time where dopamine, which is that thing in our bread, that secretion, that chemical that makes us very, very happy. And what social media has been able to do is tap into that very, very well. So if we have clip 2 brought up, it talks about our vulnerability. It is exploited and we don't even realize it. So clip 2, we'll see a little bit more about what that is about.
Of our minds, even though we feigned this whole line of like, there probably aren't any really bad unintended consequences. I think in the back, deep recesses of our minds, we kind of knew something bad could happen. But I think the way we defined it was not like this.
Turn it off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted. If you don't think you're addicted, and I'm talking about anyone, from the highest to the lowest, if you don't think you're addicted, then see if you can turn it off for a week. It got quiet in here, didn't it? Didn't it get real quiet? It's a tool.
So at the end of that clip, we actually have Denzel Washington speaking about how many of us are actually addicted to media, even though it's not necessarily good for us. And he says later on in the video, he says, if you don't think you're addicted, try to take a week away from social media. And I was thinking this morning, I'm like, I think I could do it. For me, when I come in sometimes and when I put down my phone, wherever it is, whoever's calling, people who know me be like, Simone, you're always busy. No, sometimes I just check out because I don't want to deal with all of that information being flooded at you, because this is exactly how you get programmed. They have learned how to get into our psyche. They've learned how to use images and use our emotions to get to us, okay? This is very important that you understand, especially with news coming out every day and you being bombarded every single day. If it's not when you turn on your television, it's when you're looking at your Facebook, it's when you're looking at your Instagram, anything, when you're looking at YouTube, even when you're watching us right now. In a way, again, I said this in the very beginning, this is propaganda. Again, it's a tool. Social media is a tool. And what I am doing is, again, I'm putting out a very positive message. I want you guys to learn things, but in its own way, it's a type of propaganda. So there was a statistic that I found out in that same clip, and they said that 92% of teens go online daily. 92% of our younger ones are online daily, okay? And 1 in 5 young people will wake up in the middle of the night just to send a message or a photo. So we're spending a lot of time being flooded with images that are not our own, thoughts that are not our own, beliefs that are not our own. And a lot of us take these things on. And this is kind of how our whole cognitive dissonance thing works, okay? So in clip 3, which we're gonna build up and we're gonna bring in right now, it shows, and they talk about the short-term effects that are destroying our society and how this has become almost like a global problem. So let's take a look at the clip and see what this says.
The question was, what do you think the long-term effects of social media in general are? And unfortunately, what happened was, I think it's easy to characterize what I said just as a Facebook-specific thing because I worked there and I was a key part of growing it. The reality of what I was...
Explain what you said at the time.
So what I said was, I think the tools that have been created today are starting to erode the social fabric of how society works. And what I meant by that is the following thing. Today we live in a world now where it is easy to confuse truth and popularity. And you can use money to amplify whatever you believe and get people to believe that what is popular is now truthful and what is not popular may not be truthful. You know, Joe and I, for example, we've been on the other side of climate for a long time, right? And the reality is now I can take money.
I'm so happy when things flow better. Again, you know what? Sometimes I'm sitting here like, because I get so stressed out because things don't always go the way they're supposed to. But it's okay. This is live, so I'm okay with it. I need to learn to just kind of like relax, relate, and release and let my team handle what needs to be handled. So basically, this is someone, again, who has and knows the background of social media. He is, again, one of the founders of Facebook, and he was part of that team that launched it, has pushed it, and he's coming out and saying that, you know what, I almost feel bad because I wish I'd known the type of effect this was going to have. So I do have one more clip from the same video. And again, this video is called Anonymous. This will change everything you know, 2018 through 2019. And you can find this on YouTube, okay? Oh, I didn't add that one. I think there's 4 clips there, but okay. Don't worry about it. Again, I'm going to add a lot of this stuff at the end. I'm going to personally put them on because we were having some problems with the technical side of things today. I'm going to add these on in the comment section so that you can actually go on, click on the video, and I'll even give you the minutes to make your life a little bit easier to go through these, okay? So how does this work with cognitive dissonance? So let's again go back into cognitive dissonance. I will talk about how it's destroying social media very quickly. If you can put up that slide for me, please. So how is cognitive dissonance resolved? So what happens? So something is shown to us in public. So let's just say they tell us on the news, they say, okay, you know what? Smoking is bad for you, okay? So when we hear that now, the first thing that happens is we have to change our belief, especially if you're a smoker, okay? Now you have to kind of almost change your belief on the smoking. One of 3 things happens. You change your belief, you change your attitude, or you change your perception. What usually happens is we'll get the information, okay? So they'll put it on the packages even sometimes. Smoking is bad for you. All right. Cognitive dissonance kicks in, which to me is almost like a rationalization, where you say to yourself, okay, you know what? You know what? No. Before I say that, let's come back because I know I'm probably having my music play me out. So when I get back, I'm going to explain the rest of that for you, okay? See everyone soon.
We are doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity?
This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by Rematch.
Welcome back, everybody. And if you were just joining us today we were talking about a psychological term called cognitive dissonance, which is when you have a belief about something, something else is shown to you, and then you react to that one of three ways actually, which we spoke about, which is either you change your belief, you change your attitude, or you change your perception. We're also talking about social media and how that has actually eroded society, because we've become legitimately addicted to information that's sometimes not always good for us. We just become dependent on it. And we had a clip about that. Again, we're going to bring up some of these clips. Now, I want to be able to make sure that I combine these two topics together so you can understand what I'm trying to say. So this gentleman came out, one of the founders of Facebook, and you can actually see some of the cognitive dissonance with him, because when he was initially doing, he's like, something didn't feel right. But remember, you're going to do what you need to do to balance out that discomfort in yourself. So what did he do? In his head, he's like, well, you know what? People need it, and I'm making money. Money is sometimes one of the #1 drivers for people why they may do things that they're supposed to do or not supposed to do, even when they know it's not good for them. Money is a huge one. So he realized he probably shouldn't have been doing it, but then he kind of did it anyways. And then he came out after to say, you know what? The cognitive dissonance, something happened. There was a shift for him. And finally, he started to really go with his core belief, which was, you know what? This isn't right, and I need to come out and speak about it. So if you missed those videos, you can go back to the beginning, the first 2 segments of the show, and take a look at that. And I'm going to also add them as well on the bottom so that you can see those, okay? So we are going to go into, actually, before I say that, we were speaking about, and I said I was going to come back to that. We're speaking about how cognitive dissonance can play out in your life. So we're talking about a smoker. And a smoker will get a package, and he'll see on it, you know what, cancer will cause, cancer. Oh, no, sorry. Did I say cancer will cause cancer? Cancer will cause cancer, okay. Smoking will cause cancer, right? And they see the box, and it has all these very horrid pictures. Like, they'll show the heart messed up and lungs and, like, people's teeth. It's terrible. And you've seen the commercials, too. But anyways, so a smoker now looks at this and in himself says, okay, this isn't really right for me. But that but comes in, and that but will be maybe for someone, you know what? My grandfather smoked for 98 years of his life, and he never had cancer, so I'm going to keep smoking. You balance it out. Media knows you're going to do this. They know this. This is why they're able to put those images and know that people are going to smoke anyways, because it doesn't matter. It's going to balance out in our brains. This is the thing about understanding psychology. You need to really understand what they're putting out to you. And we're going to get into a topic that we've heard about, and I think we've talked about a little bit, but no one's really gone into anything. And again, before I go into it, I want to say anything that I put out here, I'm not forcing you to believe anything. I might be making you a little bit uncomfortable, which is okay. That's the whole point of it. That cognitive dissonance, again, it's useful when you're doing it for good. And I want you to be able to start looking at news and piecing it together, okay? So everyone's heard about these chemtrails, okay? And when you think about chemtrails, like, I've been seeing them for years. So chemtrails are those, like, it looks like a plane. You'll see a plane in the sky, and then you'll see, like, something trailing that plane. So there's been some controversy over chemtrails and what's in them and why do they do them and when were they used. So chemtrails were originally used during war or in war for a few different reasons. So one thing when I was watching one of these videos was that they have found great ways to disguise the word chemtrails. They've used solar geoengineering. They've used solar radiation management, because we need to manage solar radiation. Global warming, remember, that's the real reason why everyone is doing this. Climate engineering, stratospheric aerosol injections. I mean, like, they found a really nice way to pretty up what's really happening. Tropospheric aerosol program, and this was actually implemented by the CIA and by the government, and this is needed to block out the sun. So my very first clip is a video called "Why is Nobody Talking About This? What is Happening with Billions of People?" 2017 to 2018 events. And again, this can be found on YouTube.
To collectively as geoengineering that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection.
Solar radiation management is another term.
So what I like sometimes finding when I'm doing my research, I go through some lengths because what I've noticed is sometimes it's better off to have someone else say certain things instead of it coming from me directly, because it's almost like the more people hear one thing, that's when they believe it. And again, that's all psychology, repeating behavior or repeating patterns. So even when I'm doing things with you, my viewers here, understand that I'm doing it for a reason. I want you to understand, and I'm putting in your face and I'm repeating information so that you can see exactly what is happening behind the camera, okay? There's actually an interview, and what I find fascinating is sometimes things are actually said out loud, and it's like we just ignore it. It's like we put it in, it goes in one ear and comes out the next, because I guess maybe we don't find it relevant. I'm not too sure why we don't find it relevant, because it has to do with our health and our children's health, if it's not for us, for our children. But Al Gore, who, if you guys remember, is the former vice president of the United States of America, actually admits to chemtrails on Ellen DeGeneres. Everyone knows Ellen's show. So take a look at this clip and hear what he has to say.
The feeling of desperation that some of them feel.
Are they really thinking they could do that?
Well, some of them are seriously proposing, and I think it's completely nuts.
Yeah.
You put another kind of pollution, sulfur dioxide, up to orbit, cover the atmosphere. The sky won't be really blue in the way it is now anymore, but it would block out some of the sun's heat so that we wouldn't have to take the difficult steps to stop spewing all this global warming pollution into the atmosphere. And of course, there are a lot of problems with what they're proposing. It turns out plants need sunlight.
Yes.
It wouldn't stop the acidification of the oceans, and it really should be yet another wake-up call for why we need to stop putting all this pollution up there. We put 90 million tons every day up there, and that's what's drying out the soil, 60% of the country in drought last year. That's what's contributing to the worsening of these fires in the West. West Nile virus, worst outbreak ever last year, Superstorm Sandy. But we need to start speaking up and letting the elected officials know that the future matters to us, our kids and grandkids matter to us, and we need to start cutting down on this pollution.
Well, I think it does matter, but I think a lot of people just aren't educated enough, and it's because a lot of the information is kept from us, because a lot of people in power.
All right, so again, we have someone stepping out, someone who's actually in the government, coming out to say, okay, you know what? Chemtrails are not good for you. He was like, he almost like was jovial, well, not jovial, but he was like kidding about it. He was like, they think it's a good idea to do this, but I don't think it is, right? So we're going to take a look at why an issue like chemtrails, and I'm going to continue to bring up things that are affecting us again now, because these are still happening right now. What are the issues with chemtrails? How are they affecting us? Because they're everywhere. They're not just in Canada or the States. They're in the UK. They're all over the world. People are doing this, okay? And I could only imagine the type of cognitive dissonance an airplane pilot must feel knowing that he is spraying chemicals on not only like people he doesn't know, but people he does know. Like, how do you even balance that, right? So again, with cognitive dissonance, you can look at it in so many different ways, not with just the media, but just in a day-to-day, like doing your job. You know you're doing something wrong. And this is why people, what do they call it? Whistleblowers. This is where the whole idea of whistleblowers come out, because eventually people start not feeling very well with what's happening. So we're going to start talking about the effects of chemtrails, and we're going to finish off the show with that, and then we touch a little bit back on social media. So I have just some information that we're going to put up for you. Now, this is from I do a lot of research on Google Scholar, because they have a lot more research material than just going on Google. And I found an article called Earth Heal, G-Harmonic Earth Project. It's a picture, and I'm going to talk about it very briefly until we come back. So this is by Russell L. Blaylock. He's a doctor in the States, and he says tons of nano-sized aluminum compounds are being sprayed daily over our skies. These nano-sized particles induce intense inflammation in a number of tissues, particularly the brain and the spinal cord. So nanoparticles of aluminum are not only infinitely more inflammatory, they also easily penetrate the brain by a number of different routes, leading to Alzheimer's disease. So one of the roots that I'm going to talk about when I come back is the fact that we inhale. So when they're dropping these chemicals from the plane, which sometimes in the summertime when you look up, you see them all the time, those come down and we breathe them up, and they're causing things like Alzheimer's. When I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the effects of chemtrails. Hi, everybody. We've made it through the show. Today has been, I know some of this stuff is, again, it is pretty heavy, and it can probably only be digested in segments, which is why I'm glad these are kind of cut up into 10-minute segments. But the first two segments, we were speaking about cognitive dissonance and how social media has started to kind of control us, and how those two are kind of intertwined, how media uses that and actually controls us and brainwashes us. And again, I'm going to be putting a lot of that stuff in the comments on the YouTube, so you can actually find the videos and look at those yourself. It's important that you see the information yourself, okay? Just before we left, we started talking about chemtrails, which is my, I guess, major topic today. And we're actually talking about even how, in that aspect, the cognitive dissonance that must occur for a pilot to spray chemicals on, again, not just people he doesn't know, but sometimes even family members of his own. Like, how do you do that knowing that this could be harming them, okay? So I was talking about an article called Earth Heal, Geoharmonic Earth Project. And we were talking about Mr. Russell Blaylock, and he was talking about how we are actually affected by chemtrails. So the internet is littered with stories of chemtrails and geoengineering to combat global warming. And until recently, a lot of these stories were taken with a grain of salt. One of the main reasons for the skepticism was the fact that you sometimes rarely saw them. And then all of a sudden when you start paying attention, even for me, I've always seen them. I've always just been like, I don't know, when I was younger, I think for me, I used to go to the air show. I don't know if anyone remembers the air show. Did they still have the air show, Dave? Okay, so I remember, does anyone remember the air shows? The air show, they would always have the planes and I'd have the smoke come in. I always just thought it was smoke until I started to hear more about chemtrails, and I was like, well, that's not just smoke. This is not the air show. This is, like this, what is this? So these are the type of questions that are being asked and why this has become such an important topic right now. So I want to also put up a picture about how the chemtrails actually affect the brain. There's some details and there has been some research done on this. So studies have shown that these particles in the chemtrails actually pass through the olfactory neural tracts, which connect directly to areas of the brain that are most often affected, especially with Alzheimer's, okay? But they're also earliest affected in the course of this disease. Now, the routes of exposure make spraying of massive amounts of nano-aluminum, so that's one of the properties found in the chemicals, into the skies, especially hazardous, as it will be inhaled by people of all ages, including babies and small children, for many hours. So, of course, when they spray, they leave it there. And again, if you remember looking up during the summertime, you can probably remember seeing those things kind of just sitting in the sky, almost forming a cloud, because remember, their sole purpose is to block out the sun, which is supposed to prevent global warming, right? So we know that older people have the greatest reaction to this airborne aluminum because of the nanosizing of the aluminum particles being used. sometimes even your home filtering service, like there's services in your house, ones that are supposed to filter your home, they don't work. It's still affecting you even in your home. And again, this is even it's a lot more dangerous for our elders and for younger people. So I'm sure it affects us as well, but they're the most susceptible to some of the diseases that come with chemtrails, okay? So I've also have some other sources that I want you to check out for yourself. I think I have them there for you, Jamal, too. The chemtrail study sources. So there's an article called Chemtrails, Aerosol, and Electromagnetic Weapons in the Age of Nuclear War. That's by Amy Worthington. So take a look at that article. It does go into detail about, again, what's used in chemtrails and how they've been used in the past. And also chemtrails, the consequences of toxic metals and chemical aerosols on human health. And this is part 1 by Dr. Ila Sandra Perlingeri, and I hope I said that right. So I have a video here by, and I love when these come out. These are great. This is by an FBI special agent and a chief who, he has something to say about chemtrails. Listen out and tell me what you think.
Otherwise known as chemical trails, are being dropped and sprayed throughout the United States, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Europe, and I have personally seen them not only in the United States but in Mexico and Canada. Birds are dying around the world. Fish are dying by the hundreds of thousands around the world. This is genocide. This is poison. This is murder by the United Nations. This element within our society that's doing this must be stopped. I happen to know of 2 of the locations where the airplanes are that dump this crap on us. 4 of the planes are out of the Air National Guard, Lincoln, Nebraska, and the other planes are out of Fort Still, Oklahoma. I personally have observed the planes that were standing still.
So again, I'm providing the information. I want you to be able to take that next step and actually do your research on that. But again, this is someone coming out and saying this is not good. Sometimes I think we ignore the relevant information and we just suck in all that other stuff. But again, this is how they have set it up, right? So how can you protect yourself from this? Because there's also another clip I'm going to bring up where they were saying that Trump, his name, yes, it's come up. Trump actually was endangered because he was putting an executive order to stop all chemtrails. And there's a clip that comes up where a gentleman was like, well, I need you guys to stop again believing everything that you hear, because even though there was supposed to be this executive order, chemtrails were still happening, okay? So I'm going to show that clip in a quick second, but I will say this. There are ways to protect yourself because, again, I'm not just going to bring you a problem. I'm going to bring you a solution. So one way, keep your liver, kidney, and colon clean, okay? Definitely do that. There's also foot baths you can use with Epsom salt and bentonite clay. I have that clip there, also that little slide there that you can put up for them, Jordan. It talks about how to protect yourself from chemtrail. And also organically grown foods. We've heard about organic foods and how good they are for you. So good cleansers are asparagus, broccoli, cabbage. They remove radiation and toxins, okay? Before we go, I'm going to end with this clip. Again, I want you guys to comment, like, or share a lot of this information. It is out there. Let's take a look at what has happened after this supposed executive order from Trump. You guys have a wonderful Friday, and we'll talk soon. Touch base.
Is because I have got a barrage of emails saying we all need to help Donald Trump because his life is in danger because he signed an executive order and he stopped chemtrailing cold. There are no more chemtrails in the sky. Well, in the last 3 days, I've been in 3 separate states and these guys were loaded, riddled with chemtrails in every direction. So I went out in my yard, I took the Nikon P900 with me and started showing right now in real time how they're chemtrailing the sky everywhere.
Okay, so again, that video was called, let me see if I can find it. Oh, yes, that was called Trump Stops Chemtrails, Executive Order. Can be found on YouTube again. So I just want to put up before I leave some of the things that you can do to help with protecting yourself from chemtrails, because, again, they're there. Right now, there's nothing I can personally do about it. All I can do is share the information with you on how to protect yourself. So, again, keep your liver, kidney, and colon clean. You can do foot baths at home with bentonite clay or Epsom salt. And, of course, start eating a little bit more, healthy, organic foods. They're a little bit more expensive, but things like asparagus, broccoli, and cabbages help remove radiation and toxins. Guys, out there this Friday, you guys stay warm, take care of yourselves. Any other comments, please leave them below. If there's anything I can answer, or if you need any help with the resources, please let me know. Have a wonderful Friday. Stay warm. I'm getting out of this cold because I don't want to deal with it anymore. And I'll see you guys next week, okay, on In the Now.